Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. Today we're speaking to a very special friend of mine, Cath Jenkin. We met a few years ago online, and then we met in real life. And today we're speaking about self-love and self-care in the realm of divorce, what it's like before, during, and after, and how she's feeling about it now, coming out on the other side. I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's something that doesn't get talked about all the time, and it's quite prevalent these days. So it's very important to look after yourself during this process, and I'm excited to chat to her about that today. So welcome, Cath. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Jane. It's nice to be back with you again. I'm Cath Jenkin. I am a Devon-based freelance communication consultant and writer, and I recently lost 17 kilos.
There we go. That is like the best intro. Just move so swiftly into our first question. What does self-love mean to you?
Well, I think self-love has less to do about losing the weight and more to do about getting my mind right. There's a whole interesting journey that goes into that for me. And I think that self-love is a process, and it is not something that has a destination. It's very much a growth pattern that you go into in your life. And you actually are born with it, and the world erodes it. Because as a baby, you are perfect, and everyone calls you perfect, and we all do it. Oh my gosh, this little potato is so sweet and cute and perfect. Meanwhile, it looks like a potato. And then as we grow up, we have to deal with the world deciding that we're too fat, too short, have the wrong color eyes, wrong color hair, wrong freaking whatever. And that kind of erodes our natural self-love. So getting back to that point of being that cute potato is actually important.
I love that. What does your self-love journey look like?
I would say it's been erratic. It's like I said in the beginning, it's got a lot less to do with losing the weight, because I was happy at 17 kilograms overweight, but in myself. But there were external influences in my life that had caused me to kind of comfort myself and create this buffer. And I was quite vocal about that. At one point. But for me, self-love has more to do with the ability to know yourself and understand when something is not working for you, and to be brave enough to say and do the things that you need in order to feel not just happy. I think happiness is a transitory term. I think everyone has the ability to be happy in their lives and content. But that doesn't mean that you are shooting rainbows out of your eyes every day. And it is very much a process, and it has been erratic for me. There are some days where I think that I've got things right, and some days where I think that I should probably just shut up. But yeah, I think it comes in these phases where you are very aware that you need to work on yourself, and other times where you feel almost content with where you are right now.
I agree with literally everything you just said.
Of course you do.
So you recently did my course. What was a realization, aha moment that you had about yourself from that experience that maybe you didn't know before?
It was connection. I have a very, very dear friend who he's a recovering addict, and we talk a lot about the kind of things that he's discovered in his recovery journey from addiction. And I know that those two might seem quite different, but actually self-love is very connected to understanding connection, and it's connection with yourself. And what I discovered in working through the content, and shame, Jane, I really did abuse you on WhatsApp. I'd be like, oh my God, this is so good. Oh my gosh, this is speaking to my day. Is that gathering of content that's relevant to you where you are right now in your life. And there were also a few things where I was like, I hadn't thought about that in relation to my own life. And it is, and I'd either been too scared to, or I'd been unaware that I needed to. And that was a huge aha moment for me.
Amazing. I think a lot of people are disconnected from themselves in the world in general.
I think we get caught up in the we must do, have to, we need the car, we need the house, we need to make our wives happy, we need to do this, we need to make our husbands happy, we need to make sure our children go to private school, all that stuff. We get caught up in these standards that we set for ourselves, whether we do them on purpose or not, or they're set for us, that we forget the essence of why we're actually here. And a lot of that, the more we distance ourselves from the essence of who we are, the more likely we are to feel like we are not up to standard in the world. And the fact that you exist in the world, and I try and raise my daughter to understand this, is her mere existence is enough. And we forget that. We get so stuck in that competition.
And the stuff.
And life's not a competition. Nobody here is competing.
Oh my gosh, so true. So you waited until your divorce was final to do the course, even though I was trying to push you before then. When you were ready. Did you feel emotionally ready to put yourself first once that was finalized?
Oh, you mean the divorce?
Yeah.
Did I feel emotionally ready to put myself first? Okay, divorce is traumatic even when it's the right thing to do. It doesn't matter who you are, how it is. And I maintain that I married the best man in the world and I divorced the same man. But I don't, it wasn't a situation of only being ready to put myself first then once it was finalized. It was a situation of I was only ready to come to be able to make the time to focus on working on those elements of myself once I knew that I had ended that process, that we'd ended that process, legally and what have you, because it kind of hangs over your head in everything you do. Doesn't matter what you do. You get stuck in this weird state of limbo. And so being able to be free and clear of it was really important. And at the time, I also needed to focus on getting my child through that whole process. And again, we had a really easy divorce. It's still hell.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. So what was the hardest part about going through a divorce, and how did you feel about yourself before and after with regards to self-love?
I think the hardest part was, probably shouldn't say that on a podcast. No. I think the hardest part was the ending of things for me, and having to recalibrate the ideas around myself. No matter where you are or what you're doing in your life, when you are forced to recalibrate, and recalibration is a very good thing. Don't be scared of it. You question everything, and a process like divorce and life-altering things like that, divorce, moving house, losing a parent, losing a child, losing your best friend, anything like that, you question yourself the most. It doesn't matter who else is in those situations or what have you. So doing Unselfishly Me helped me to confront all of those questions that I had about myself in a way that was constructive and led and directed, rather than me just kind of moping around the house. Although I did a significant amount of moping, I won't lie. I think moping is good for you sometimes.
Yes, definitely. I think you're allowed to mope when you're going through something like that. Like it's life-changing. What self-love practices do you do each day now?
I try and walk 3 to 6 Ks a day now. And that's my time. It's my special time. Whether that makes me fitter, healthier, or what have you, it enables my mind to make sense of things. I call it my creative time, because that's usually when I have the best ideas for work. I actually had a really funny thing the other day, because I had this epiphany moment. I was working on a project. Epiphany moment. And I was like, I found the perfect words for this project. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to run home because I need to write this down so fast before I lose the sentence. And then I realized that my MP3 player, my cheap ass MP3 player, has a voice recorder. I was running along the road. It's such a good thing for me to be able to center my brain at a particular time every day.
Definitely. And I think also because you're a writer, words and things are in your head constantly.
All the time.
Okay, so how has becoming a mom changed you?
Okay, it hasn't changed me. I've been a mom for 14 years now. Although if I do think about it, I knew from the moment that I saw my positive pregnancy test that that was what I wanted to do and be and have in my life. I never for a second have doubted the choices I made in becoming a parent. It was an instant, as weird as it is, I was never the kind of person to go, oh, when I grow up, I want to have a baby and a husband and a picket fence and 2.5 dogs and this and that and everything. But the second I knew that it was like there was a lightning bolt that came down from the sky and went, oh, boom. And it's enabled so much for me and enabled me to also become stronger in myself because I have an example to set.
Yeah. True. What would you say to new moms out there about showing themselves self-love?
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Make no apologies for the fact that you need to take a bath. If you need help, ask for it. Do not be shy. Do not be me. You do not need to be a hero. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when your child is first born, everybody wants to come to your house and hang out and hold the baby, kiss the baby. Don't let them do it. Okay. They can drop off dinner and they can see the child at 6 months old. Thanks very much. Enjoy following the stories on Instagram. That's not your child, guys. That's theirs. You need to be left alone and you need to be comforted at the right times. And only you can dictate that.
I think, touching on that, and not from personal experience yet, but I think seeing other people, exactly what you said, they come in the beginning. And then when you actually need help, 6 months down the line, 5 months, 4 months, whatever, 8 months, those people have moved on because they're like, I came to see the cute baby.
And now they've buggered off.
And I just came to do that.
Okay, so for me, and this is the big thing for moms, I think for new moms, newborn babies are incredible. They're amazing. All they do is eat, sleep, and poop. Yeah. That's it. It is and I know that it's going to feel like hell at the time, because you're going to be like, this is all so new. Oh my gosh, is it eating, sleeping, pooping correctly? It's the easiest time of parenting. I promise you now, 14 years here. 14 years. It's the easiest time. Sleep when the baby sleeps. I know that that's hilarious because we all need to work and wash the dishes. But honestly, the best act of self-love that you can give yourself when dealing with a newborn child is to settle into a rhythm with that child and forget everything else, as difficult as it is.
I'm just taking notes here quickly. So, moving on to the body. Have you experienced body shaming, and what do you think about the body shaming that happens online?
Okay, so I am the worst body shamer to myself. I just want to say that first.
I think most people are.
I think most people are, and I often critique myself in ways that are not like, there's photos of me that I was looking at the other day. I sent you the one where I'm like a teenager, and I'm like, as an adult now, all I can see is the perfect skin I had. But back then I was like, oh, I'm a heifer. Okay. But I think my worst personal body shaming incident came when I was shopping for a wedding dress, and the woman who was assisting me in the shop, you would think like it's a well-known bridal like retail store thing. She was helping me into a dress that I loved, and she was like, so are you going to lose the weight? And I was like, what weight? And she was like, no, this weight. So I was like, what weight? And she was like, does your husband want a fat wife? And I just remember looking at her and thinking, cool, I'm never shopping here again. And I actually stepped out of the dress that I loved so much, handed it back to her, and left.
Like, I cannot believe that people do that. Especially, you're trying to sell a dress. Why are you even commenting on anything?
And you know what the worst part is? Is so many people have had that experience at that store. So many people. I wrote a column about it, and so many people came and DM'd me or emailed and said, was it that store?
Imagine that's your store and you're the owner, and that's someone who's working for you, and they are body shaming
your clientele.
And basically they're body shaming them to the point where they are literally leaving the dress behind. So it's actually becoming like a business issue as well. But
yeah, it is. Also, brides don't need to be skinny little waifs.
No.
Sorry. Nobody needs to be a skinny little waif. You need to be healthy and happy.
And who is she to dictate what body standards are.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I can't. And have you seen, well, obviously you've seen because you've been online with all of us anyway, the body shaming that you see online, do you think it's gotten worse?
Okay. Yeah, I do. I do, very much so. I got a DM from someone a while ago. Remember when I did the whole like flip and brave of me, look, there I am post saying, oh, but you look the same.
What?
And I was just like, first of all, you don't know me. Second of all, so what? And third of all, no, I freaking don't, Gar.
No, literally.
No. And I think also, okay, women are cruel to women. We know this. We grew up knowing this. We've grown up. I mean, I have teenage experiences, and women are cruel to women. They really, really are. Finding your tribe is a relief. But men have no idea. No, none. But men get body shamed too.
Yeah, they do.
Big time. Because, you're too, you know, that whole thing about who's got the bigger willy. That's literally, it's an element of it.
And like,
like he flexes his guns.
Yeah. Like, welcome to the gun show. Oh, you don't have any. But they just don't talk about it.
No, never. Never.
Exactly. On that and the whole body shaming and everything, your journey started like a year ago and you said you've lost 17 kgs. So I just want you to tell people about why you started walking. Me. And your health reasons.
Okay. So I've always loved the walking. I've always loved the morning walk thing, but it kind of never became such a schedule issue for me and what have you. So I got up to getting into a bit of running at some point when we were living other side of the river. But yeah, it kind of fell apart and then I really enjoyed it. And then I was too lazy and then I was this and then I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, which is weird because I never had a history of high blood pressure. And it was actually terrifying. I went to the doctor for an ear infection and he was like, yeah, your blood pressure is the same as stage 2 hypertension. So I just stared at him because I'd always had low blood pressure all my life. So I was like, okay. And he was like, I just want you to walk. And I was like, I love walking. I've always loved walking. I've just stopped doing it. So I did. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I had my own internal mental stuff to work out too. But yeah, that was why. And Jane is terrible. She's terrible because she will wait for you to get there on your own. So she'll remind you, she'll wait for you to get there on your own. And Jane, I will say it on the podcast, you were right.
I'm so proud.
So making time for yourself is like this gift, but it seems so impossible for so many of us because we kind of feel like we are never the priority. So for me, my biggest life hack was actually making that time to go for that walk. So what I do is I Uber my child to school every day and then I walk back to my home.
You're in the Uber with her.
No, obviously I'm in the Uber with her. And then after I drop her, I walk back. And depending on how I feel, because everything is about how you feel, guys, whether you like it or not, it'll either be a 3K walk or a bit of a run, or I'll take a different route and go further and go farther and have more fun and what have you. Winter is really difficult. I won't lie. School holidays make it even more difficult because I actually haven't been this whole week. But then I'm just like, yeah,
it's a rest week.
I'll make up for it.
Yeah, but also if you've been doing it 5 days a week for like however many months or a year, it's okay to take a break every now and then.
And it's cold right now.
Yeah. That's your rest week. That's for you to recalibrate.
I'm just going to winter up a bit.
I love that. Yeah, that for me was like such an amazing idea. I'd never really heard of anyone doing that. So I thought it's such a nice way of actually making time. And also, if you don't have time but you fetch the kids or you drop them off, when you go and fetch the kids, I'm pretty sure, and I've seen it so many times, that most people get there early to get a good parking.
Oh, yeah.
So even if you get there half an hour early, park your car and just go walk around the block for half an hour while you're waiting instead of sitting on the car and scrolling Instagram or Facebook.
Mm-hmm. You're doing emails.
Yeah.
They can wait.
Exactly. So maybe just park your car early, get the good parking spot, and then just go for a walk.
Even on the school field. You could actually start a group to do that.
That would be amazing.
You could start a group to do that. Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah,
I want to do that now.
Kath's like, I'm going to go make a group at the school. Actually, a good idea. When you deciding to get more healthy and making it a priority for your health, did you notice that people treated you differently?
Yes. They didn't take me seriously.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like why they questioned why I was doing it. And it was like, well, no. And okay, and I just want to put this out there and like kill this rumor entirely. It wasn't because I thought I was losing my husband or something.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't. It was more, it had a lot more to do with figuring myself out and being bloody terrified of my blood pressure.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I think that a lot of people that I interacted with and talking about it, because it was so not something I would talk about, they were like, eh? And so they didn't take me seriously at first. And that's okay. They don't have to take me seriously. I have to take myself seriously. So I did.
Yeah, it's so interesting how people will...
Obviously, I exclude you from that conversation.
Obviously. People will shame you into like, oh, you should do more, you should be more healthy. And then when you start doing it, then they shame you again for actually doing it.
It's like the Nike mannequin thing. We find, oh my God, there's such a need to have exercise clothes for plus size people. Then Nike do it, make up a mannequin, and everyone complains because they don't like what the mannequin looks like. I'm like, well, guys, how are you going to get people who need to be fit doing physical exercise into the gym if they can't find clothes to do it in? Everyone deserves amazing clothes. Thanks very much. Get in line.
Exactly. The body shaming that goes on is just ridiculous. So how do you feel about yourself now than you did a year ago?
I feel more in touch with my own thoughts.
Ooh.
That's got a lot to do with letting life happen, but also a lot to do with conscientious effort. I think what I feel nowadays is a far better sense of myself and a far better sense of being able to express who that self is without feeling like I have to explain it or that it must be understood. There's that whole compulsion that you need to be understood by people in order to be accepted, and that's absolute cuck. It's got more to do with accepting yourself.
Totally agree. And where can people find you on social media?
You'll find me blattering a lot on Twitter. It's at Cath Jenkin, and the same on Instagram.
I will also link to all of that in the show notes so people can find you. But now I want you to do a universe card. So
Yay!
We've got the Gabrielle Bernstein Universe Has Your Back cards here. So I want you to shuffle those up. So you shuffle them up, put your energy into it. And then
I just want to go back to when I first met Jane.
How things have changed.
How things have changed and how things are no, but not really changed, actually. They're not actually. You're not actually changed. You've always.
I'm now into this stuff.
No, you've actually always been into this stuff. It's just that you've had more access to it.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
And now you're less like, it's like me. Like you never knew that I read tarot cards.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to spread them out. And then you're going to pick one. And this is going to be your message for the day.
Oh, God, I'm so excited. I needed one. I have so much work to do. Oh, my God. Okay, it's this one. Ooh. I surrender to a power greater than me.
Oh, and it's got a butterfly. And butterfly also generally signifies transformation.
They do. They do, like Taylor Swift.
But wait.
There's two.
Oh, my word. Okay, so when you're doing these kind of cards, if you pick two or if when you're spreading the deck out, one like flies out, I learned this when I did my life coaching course, you have to pay attention to those because it's trying to give you another message.
I'm
also laughing because her birthday present, I'm not saying what it is, but the word unapologetic is actually in the present.
Okay. I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust what our focus on will grow. That's hectic, Janie, because that's been my theme since everything had to change. And I never said I was sorry for having to do what I do. and did.
Oh, my word.
And I never will be. I had trust. There was trust is such
crazy.
a huge thing for me. So when I trust someone, it's I'm in or I'm out, what have you. And to get to that point is a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
And trusting myself was the most important element of this whole journey. So that's amazing.
I just can't believe that the present I got you has the word unapologetic. And you just pulled a card that has the word.
Thank you.
Well, I can believe it because I believe in science and the universe. So that is amazing.
Yeah,
so,
happy.
And I'm such a happy now. But thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.